welcome to Lights Camera Texas. I'm your host, Billionna Reyes, and today's guest is Eric McKinney, who is the owner of Wonderland Studios.
Howdy.
Hi.
Welcome to my creative space.
What is Wonderland Studios?
Well, Wonderland Studios, we are a recording studio here in Austin, Texas, and we work with all sorts of people, from artists to songwriters to bands to voice talent, kind of run the gamut.
Awesome. What is your role here in Wonderland Studio?
I'm the owner of Wonderland Studios, but I'm also, I guess, the lead engineer, producer. I do have a business partner now, Tim Casterline, that's been with me for, I want to say 7-8 years, something like that. And he's also engineer, producer here.
What made you want to start Wonderland Studio?
I started a version of it with my brother back in the 90s. My brother and I have played together in bands forever. He's Mark McKinney, which is a Texas country artist that's pretty well known in this scene. And yeah, so him and I, we've been musicians since we were little kids, and then getting, when I was graduating from high school, I went to recording school, kind of trying to figure out, hey, where am I going? LA, New York, Nashville, Austin. I was a Texas boy, so I was like, let's go check out Austin for a little while. And so got down here and then got very immersed into the scene, and yeah, we put together the studio and started working with tons of artists.
Who can use the studio? Is it just for artists, or can it be whoever needs to, I guess, sound?
Yeah. Really, anybody. We are a private recording studio, and people make appointments with me, but we take on clients all the way from bands to singer-songwriters to voice talent, even do things for radio stations, do things, film, do things for educational companies, kind of a lot. We have a lot of different clients.
What are your hours of operation?
We're not a typical 9 to 5 kind of place or something like that, or it's all over the map. So as far as clients, I schedule them with my schedule, and we kind of, it can be whatever hours that we need to link up. I'm often working in the studio on stuff myself very late, and so I'll be in here till 2, 3, 4 in the morning, often trying to get something done and out the door.
What services do you provide?
But gosh, we cover so many things. It's interesting. Over the years, we've added more and more services. So we're a recording studio, but myself and my business partner, we're also both producers, and so we take on that role with a lot of artists, singer-songwriters, bands. We work with voice talent, we do mixing, we do mastering now, and we've just added more and more. There's also another element to our business. We have a little offshoot division called Texas Time Artist Services, where we do a lot of artist development with different artists too, to help them along. A lot of sort of fresher artists in the scene, bands, singer-songwriters, they need some sort of guidance and help. Since I've been doing it for so long, and I toured for many years with lots of different projects, it's kind of, you can give a lot of guidance and a lot of things, how to market, grab more attention, all that kind of stuff.
So if someone has a question about what services you provide, they could just look at your site.
Yeah, look at our website. We've got most of them listed on there, and they can feel free to contact me directly on there, and through the email, and I'll get right back with them and guide them what kind of services we can see if we can help them out.
How are your rates? Do you have like a flat rate, or it just depends on what they're asking for? Like, if it needs to be bundled up, or?
Yeah, well, that depends on the client. Our stock rate is $30 an hour, but it depends on what the services, what kind of services are being needed. There's things like with companies, radio stations, film, educational companies, whatever, that, we may agree on a set price for something. Typically, I don't work with bands or on that sort of thing. Like, hey, come in and record, 4 songs for $400. It's just because you never know how long it's going to take in the studio. But typically our rates are $30 an hour. But people should get in touch with me because I can work with people on their budgets and
that's what people like to hear.
Yeah, that's what people like to hear. Exactly.
How should a person prepare for the studio or when they come into the studio?
Well, you'd be surprised at how many people are not prepared when they come in. It depends on the client. It depends what they're trying to accomplish. But I would say, for voice actors or things like that, it's know the script and kind of know what they're going to do coming in. Kind of have the voice warmed up by the time they get in. Talk, sing in the car, whatever. Same thing with singers. But if we're coming in to cut some vocals on something. But as far as like bands, artists, musicians like that, man, make sure your drums have new heads on them and they're tuned. Make sure your guitar strings are new and the intonation is good on your guitar so you're not going out of tune the whole time that you're here. There's just a lot of things like that people don't think about. I actually have on our website, I have a listing of a lot of that for musicians, like, hey,
just so you
prepare.
know, yeah.
Come in prepared.
For musicians, what should they expect during a session?
Well, I guess it depends, like, what we're trying to get done. An initial, tracking session with a band, there may be multiple people involved, so there's 3, 4, 5 musicians. We come in, we set up. It takes, an hour or 2 or 3 to get all the sounds right, get everything set. And then we get rolling, get cooking with cutting songs. But if it's down the road on a particular album or CD or EP that we're working on, it may be just one person coming in. It may be just the vocalist coming in to do some more vocal takes, and us trying to get the best vocal we can, or lead guitar player coming in. We're taking some lead guitar tracks. And that's one of the things I think people don't realize in recording. Lots of times it's multiple steps.
It's not just one whole day.
Yeah. I mean, there's tracking session. There's some sort of edit cleanup of all that. There's a mixing session. Or multiple mixing sessions. There's before mixing, sometimes there's overdub sessions to touch up certain instruments and make things better. And the same thing with film or voice or anything. There's things getting touched up, and then after the mixing session, then there's mastering. And then you're bouncing down the final masters of all that. So there's multiple stages usually,
How about for an actor? What should they expect during a session?
For one, they should try to have the script in hand beforehand and come in prepared if at all possible. But they should expect to possibly be working with several people and be open for guidance and input, because whether there's a director in here or whatever the client is, and myself and the voice actor, we're all trying to get the best thing. We're trying to get the best result, and so open for input. That's a big thing.
How often are you booked?
I stay pretty booked. I've always got about somewhere between 10 to 15 projects ongoing in multiple stages. Some are voiceover stuff, some are tracking sessions, some are mixing sessions, some are full band, some are mastering sessions. So yeah, it's oh my gosh, there's always a lot of irons in the fire.
Would you say that it is better to set up an appointment once they know what they want, or is it okay to set it maybe the next day?
The best thing is for somebody to email me or call me, and my information's on our website. Wonderland Studios Austin.com, and they just get in touch with me, and I'll personally set up an appointment with them, and I'll get them in just as soon as I can, based on all the projects and clients going on. But usually if it's an initial meeting with somebody, I try to get them in pretty quick so that we can at least discuss the project, figure out if we're a good fit to work together on something, and then start scheduling, okay, they need to get this done by this date. Okay, let's figure this out. Let's schedule this in.
Do you do voiceovers for actors who want a demo reel?
Absolutely. Yeah, we do a lot of that. Yeah, and it's different for different voice actors because some are more geared toward they're trying to show a lot of different things, or some a lot of voice actors, there's overlap between they do things for film, but they do things for educational companies. They do things for radio. And so we try to cover a lot of that. It's fun. Sometimes it's fun on those demo reels to we make like little fake radio ads, like some, like maybe they have some already, but then they're like, oh, I want to show this element. I want to show this side of me, and so we'll background music it, and we'll we'll do it all like it's like a real even though a client hasn't bought it or paid for it, but we're making a little. So yeah, it's fun lots of times to make those demo reels.
When someone, I guess, wants to receive their files, how would you export it to them, or how would they receive their files?
Yeah, well we use all the typical kind of services. Like we have a Hightail account. We use Box.com, Dropbox, things like that. That seems to be kind of the typical way to get moved, especially pretty large files that are moving around. There's also something called a DDP file, which is basically like we make like a digital master of somebody's master, and that we will send out to like a manufacturer or whatever. Somebody like Disc Makers or CD Baby or whatever, and that's a digital version of the master that we'll send out. So those lots of times are a direct link to that. They have their own upload.
Do you have like any sample recordings if someone wanted to see your work?
Our website has wonderlandstudios.austin.com. It has a lot of artists listed on there, and people can link off of that, and get to recordings that we've done. It's got the album titles on there and all the different artists that we've worked with. So yeah, that's a good way to hear something. If they want to hear some specific genre or whatnot, or they can get in touch with me and I can send something directly.
What is your microphone setup?
Depends on what's going on that day. I mean, we've got Neumann mics and lots of Shure mics and Groove Tubes and AT mics, and it's just kind of all over the place. So I guess it just depends on what the source is going to be that day.
What are your gear staples?
Well, I love my Toft board, ATB here. That thing is really cool. I have a dangerous D-box up here. It's got killer converters in it. It's a great little summing mixer. My Apollo unit is my main interface getting into Pro Tools, because of course Pro Tools, your DAW kind of, your digital audio workstation standard kind of thing. Of course, the Mac. So those are all the staples. I mean, I've got lots of outboard gear, the pre's, like the Neve pre's, the API pre's. Those are all like really good top of the line pre's that are great. Crystal clear, and they're different. Different ones are better for different things that you're trying to capture. But yeah, those are some of the main staples.
Thanks so much for watching, and if you want to know more information about Wonderland Studios,
feel free to visit our website, www.wonderlandstudiosaustin.com, or contact me, wonderlandstudios@gmail.com.
bye.